Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Blissed? Your dial is set correctly to USAPrepares.com. Dr. Shealy, are you blissed?
Am I ever blessed? Always on Wednesday.
and every other day.
Right.
Dr. Shealy, it was great to see you and Dr. Sergey Sorin at the meetup on Monday. What a fabulous presentation you both did, and I wanted to thank you for being there. It was truly extraordinary.
Well, great fun.
Is Dr. Sorin with us?
No, he is such a night owl that he has trouble getting up this early sometimes. In that respect, we are 180 degrees different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dr. Shealy, one of the things that I wanted to, I've got a whole bunch of questions for you here. At the meetup, you said something quite interesting, and you were talking about stress tests, and what I'm saying is medical stress test, where, your doctor orders a procedure where you are stressed for cardiovascular, respiratory activity, and so forth. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that you talked about some complications, including death from that. Is that correct?
Indeed. A heart attack, and some of those people die right there on the treadmill.
It doesn't sound like it's something that I want to do.
Well, there's no indication to do that. If you've got symptoms, you get the simple test of how much calcium do you have in your arteries. If you've got calcium in your arteries, you don't need a stress test. And especially if you've got symptoms.
Okay, what about, is it just calcium in the arteries that you need to be concerned about, or what about irregular heartbeats and so forth?
Well, that's different, of course. But even if you've got an irregular heartbeat, I don't see that as an indication for doing a stress test. That's going to make it worse.
Dr. Shealy, I remember when I lived in Virginia, there were people who had this, it seems like there's two versions of this stress test as I know of it. One of them where you get on a treadmill and they increase the inclination of that, and they make you go faster and faster, and they measure your heart rate and respiration and so forth. And then the other one is you just lie down and they take care of all that by injecting chemicals into your system. Right. And just the thought of lying down on a table and having someone inject intravenously chemicals that were going to stress your body to the point where it could kill you, people you don't even know, you haven't met them before, and there's nothing that you can do to reverse this once you're in this position where you're stressed and you can't move, can't speak, can't do anything, and they've taken over, and maybe they're on their cell phones not paying attention. That's the last thing I want to do.
Well, interesting. Some of the medicines used during these stress tests can cause wheezing, shortness of breath, asthma. Some of these symptoms, quote, are severe and require treatment. And the risk of death is only 1 in 5,000. But arrhythmia, irregular heartbeat, is not uncommon. And you may need treatment in a hospital if that happens, and you can faint because of low blood pressure, and on it goes. Why do a test when you could go on symptoms, and if you know you've got calcium in there, then the question is, how far are you going to go in treatment then? And, of course, the treatment they're trying to push you into is coronary bypass surgery or cabbage, and that's really not even good kraut.
Okay, coronary bypass surgery. So let's talk about that, Dr. Shealy. What is that, and what would the procedure be?
Well, first of all, they break your breastbone and rip open your chest, and then they put you on a pump to pump your blood because they're going to stop the heart from beating, and they take a vein out of your leg and patch it in to, quote, bypass some of the clogged arteries in your heart. And if you survive, and by the way, the risk there is between 1 and 3 or 4%. In fact, in other words, 1 and 3 to 4 out of 100 die on the table. And it does not prolong life. That's the big thing about coronary bypass surgery. You know, it's given for a life-threatening disease. Theoretically, when you're going through that big an operation, you'd want it to prolong your life at least. It does get rid of coronary pain, angina pectoris, because it destroys the nerve supply to your heart. But it doesn't prolong life, and there's a very high instance of what they, passively call a cognitive dysfunction, which means you don't think right because your brain's been damaged.
As a result of this procedure?
Yeah, because of being on a pump. That pump is pumping your heart artificially can cause complications, like a tiny stroke.
Well, from what I remember, they say these tiny strokes are really strokes. It's not like it's a tiny stroke. It's still a stroke.
Little or big, it's still a stroke.
Wow. So, Dr. Shealy, am I hearing this right, that this is a procedure that you do not recommend under most circumstances?
I do not recommend it. In fact, I've threatened, haven't done it because I would, do not open tattooed on my chest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I was very concerned about that as I heard it, and I wanted to make sure that we made sure our class fully understood. And there are a lot of people who have these bypass surgeries. Now, is this the same as a quadruple bypass?
Oh yeah, that's 4 versus 5 arteries that they're passing.
Okay. Dr. Shealy, do you have any stories that you'd like to share with us? Let's say when you were in medical school that you think might be interesting to our broadcast classroom. Personal stories that maybe an experience that you had that would be educational. Well, a residency, medical school, internship.
I would guess the one that is most was during my residency in neurosurgery at the Massachusetts General Hospital, the #1 hospital in the world, they brag. In the Department of Neurosurgery, the #2 person who was already capped to become #1 within a couple of years was carrying out a huge number of research projects on every patient with a malignant brain tumor, one of the common things in neurosurgery. And it was totally unethical, immoral, beyond belief. He would take patients who had this tumor, and surgery would go 2 or 3 times as long as it should because he was doing experiments where he would cut out a little piece of normal brain and compare it with a piece of brain tumor when he had injected some boron compound into their bloodstream, or taking people and putting them on a pump and perfusing their brain with 108-degree temperature of nitrogen mustard, that sort of thing. And I went to the bishop of the Episcopal Diocese. I happen to be Episcopalian. And I gave him this list of something like 17 immoral projects that were going on. And he went to the board, supposedly didn't mention my name, but a week later, I'm called in to the #1 chief head of the department. Well, Norm, anyone who would question Bill Sweet has got to be sick. You've got to see the head of psychiatry. And so I go to #3 man in the department and say, look, they'll lock me up. He said, you don't have to see nurse chief. You just have to see a senior psychiatrist. You see Mandel Cohen. So I saw Mandel Cohen for about 3 months. And I'm the only neurosurgeon in history who was ever declared legally sane. And And he said, tomorrow I'm presenting my results. Gentlemen, he's sane. Well, I'm then called back in. Oh, this would be terrible if the press got. I said, look, I've been to the bishop. I've done my thing. A week later, my obituary appeared in the Boston Globe. In other words, they didn't get me declared insane, but if I wasn't careful, I could wind up in the Charles River. Mm-hmm. And to put a long story short, over the next year, over $3 million annual research was stopped by the bishop. I would think that's probably the outstanding story from my entire medical school and post-medical school training.
So, Dr. Shealy, would you say that in the past and maybe even currently, people who go in for surgery are being experimented on without their knowledge? Do you think that continues?
I think it is probably rare, as it was there. But I'm sure it happens. I mean, way back, there were experiments where they were just opening your chest and not doing anything and closing it. And you didn't know whether you were the guinea pig. Wow. And they found that didn't work.
My grandfather was telling me a story about World War I battlefield wounds and how there was this man that he knew who had an operation, and he had these complications after it. He had lots and lots of pain, and he wasn't right, didn't feel right. He was very weak, and so finally the patient asked to be opened up again and have another look, and they found a sponge.
Yeah.
Have you heard those stories?
Oh yes, no question about it. Again, the incidence of that is extremely rare. Theoretically, there's supposed to be a nurse who's watching the number of sponges, counting the number of sponges that are put into a wound and the number taken out. But it happens.
Yeah, extremely, extremely sad. And there's a story of a dentist, and he had to call after the patient gets home, and the patient says, well, how long am I supposed to leave this gauze in? He said, well, let's see, how long has it been? Another 10 minutes. Dr. Shealy and I will be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-941-5257. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-941-5257. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-941-5257. That's 1-800-941-5257.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to gcnteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Class Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, and if you'd like to go to his website, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com. Dr. Shealy, I read a story last night that I found extremely disturbing, and the reason I'd like to share this story with our class and you is there a medical reason why people behave this way? And let me tell you let me read you this, or share this story. It's on the Daily Mail, and it says, police released chilling body cam footage of the moments before an unarmed father of two was shot dead in a hotel by Arizona police officer. And then it says that, but crucially admits the moment he begged for his life. So what happened was this man, Daniel Shaver, he's 26. He was in a hotel because he was staying over for his work, and he's a pest control guy. And the police in Mesa, Arizona were told, allegedly, that someone was pointing a gun in a window. So the officers showed up on the scene. They ordered everyone out of the area in that hallway, and then they allegedly crashed into his room, told him to crawl, and his pants were coming down as he was crawling along the floor. He moved to pull up his pants. They told him, don't do that again. Basically do what we tell you to do. And they shot him 5 times and killed him. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is this was an execution. And so the police officer that shot him 5 times was charged with second-degree murder. And then if you look at the picture of this police officer, and I'll post this on the website, he's got all the accoutrements. He's got his glasses. He's got his radio. He's got his gun and everything you could possibly think of. And this police officer's got tattoos all over his arms. He looks like he is ready for a fight. And the question I have is, there's a picture of 4 cops right outside this one man's hotel room. They get him on the floor. He's not armed, but he does have 2 pellet rifles that he uses in his pest extermination business with him. Okay, he has them, and they execute him. The question I have is there something medically that has happened to people, either chemically, medically, something. Do we have any idea what is causing the government minions to just shoot first and then worry about it later? Do we know of anything that's causing this? Because it's absolutely out of control all over the country.
I don't think anybody knows. I think that what it really amounts to is fear. In other words, the police themselves increasingly fear for their own lives and therefore don't use common sense. That's the only thing I can,
And I wonder if it's ramped up in these meetings that they have just before they're dispatched on their shift. Okay, boys and girls. Okay, we want to make sure that everybody goes home to their families. So,
be sure to shoot first.
Yeah, that took the words right out of my mouth. I'm literally, literally, that's what I was thinking. Yep. Be sure you shoot first. And this is crazy, absolutely crazy. And what happened in Baltimore, that black man who was put in a paddy wagon, is handcuffed, not strapped in, and I believe, and I can't prove it, but I've heard. I was in the truck on the way back from the meetup on Monday. I heard some of the names that most people would recognize, the broadcasters, talking about it, and how good that justice was served. And really, so you put a guy in the back of a paddy wagon, and you leave him loose there. He can't protect himself from a fall because his hands are behind his back, and then you take him for a ride through the city streets, and you make right turns, left turns, sharp turns, quick acceleration, quick stops, and this guy's rolling around like a ping pong ball, and then he dies of all these bruises and broken bones and injuries as a result of that ride. And then, it's okay, because he wasn't necessarily a nice guy. So the man that they put in the back of this paddy wagon, they said, well, he had priors. Oh yeah. So that means that what you do is you just beat him up, and then you get away with murdering him intentionally or unintentionally with impunity. I have a problem with this. I really do. Dr. Shealy and I'll be right back, and let's talk about losing weight.
A good stove is at the top of the list for any serious survivalist. That's why you have to see the full range at emberlit.com. Simple, elegant, but extraordinarily efficient. Available in titanium or stainless steel, the Emberlit line of stoves are ultralight, pack flat, and work great. Fueled only by sticks and debris. From emergency situations to long-term survival, Emberlit stoves are up to the task. Emberlit, the most convenient, easy-to-carry wood stoves on the planet. See them all at emberlit.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
My name is Don Wiskin, and at 42 years old, I suffered a massive heart attack and was told I'd be on disability for the rest of my life. What did I do? I created Extendivite, a garlic and cayenne mix of 7 herbs which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life. For over 17 years now, I have made this formula available to you so you don't have to suffer the same thing I did. Clean your blocked arteries and strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system. I'm 60 years old now, and I still work every day. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. Dr. Shealy, earlier this week, I was talking with a gentleman who was telling me about rapid weight loss, and he and his wife had experienced very quick weight loss, significantly, almost, well, let's say 8% of his weight and her weight. They both simultaneously had this rapid weight loss. And they're both eating the same food, but the food that they're eating, I was told, is not quality food because of economic reasons. So they weren't able to afford what we might consider to be, really good, healthy, raw food because of the cost. And both of them experienced this very rapid weight loss and thought that, maybe it might have to do with cancer. And I mentioned this last Monday at the meetup, and the thought was, well, because both of them have experienced the same exact thing, it probably is not cancer. Is that right?
Well, that is true. I think although obesity in itself is an increased risk, carries an increased risk of cancer, but for both of them to develop it at the same time, it sounds to me more like some basic metabolic nutritional deficiency, cumulative from eating junk food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you saying, Dr. Shealy, that the problem is that because the food is not high quality, because we'll call it junk food, because the consumption of junk food is what's happened, that the body is deficient in vitamins, minerals, supplements, and so forth, and therefore cannot operate at an optimal level, and therefore weight loss?
That's the most likely thing in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds to me, based on that the natural conclusion would be if we could return to healthier food, the problems will tend to go away.
Right.
Okay. Now, how important is exercise in one's daily life? So I can see, someone who, well, I saw it at Sam's Club. I saw some people riding around in these battery-powered carts. They will walk from their car in the handicapped parking spot, which is really close. They'll walk from their car to the door, and they'll hop in one of these battery-powered carts and ride through the store. Now, is this a spiral down from what I'm saying is once you embark on this where you ride around rather than push a cart yourself, is this a spiral down to where you become weaker and weaker and weaker over time, such that then you can't even get in the cart? Battery-powered.
The evidence is overwhelming that the less you stand, let alone walk, the worse it is for your health long term. So once again, cancer, diabetes, heart attack, all are increased in people who are inactive.
Joey called me one day, and he was mentioning, Joey in Michigan, one of our instructors class, was mentioning that, he said, did you ever see people in Walmart? He said there's this new observation that he had, and maybe it's even a trend, where people are, and this would be middle-aged and older, are pushing their carts, but they're not really pushing their carts. They're actually leaning on their carts as if the carts were a disguised walker. Literally leaning on the cart, putting weight on their arms, taking weight off their legs, putting it on the arms, transferring it to the cart, and using the cart as a walker. And I said, wow, you're absolutely right. And so as I went to the Chinese factory outlet again and went to Sam's Club, I see this. I see people using their carts as walkers. Dr. Shealy, what does this tell us? Does this tell us that what we used to be able to do, I'm talking about in the 1950s, 60s, maybe even the 70s, we can't do anymore because we're that unhealthy? Is that what's going on?
Yes. The United States is listed among world countries as being something like number 37th in health. In other words, there's 36 countries that are healthier than we are. And yet we spend a minimum of twice what any other country does on medical services. Not health services. We don't spend anything on health. We spend a hell of a lot on medicine.
Mm-hmm. And it's very sad. It really is. And I mentioned to the family, we were having dinner last night. My mom, our son, Mrs. Finelli, and I were having a traditional 1950s family dinner here at the farmhouse. And I mentioned that, we absolutely are tied to the use of using a four-wheeler to do farming now. Now, it used to be that farmers would walk wherever they went, or they'd hop on a tractor, or maybe even get on a horse, depending on how far. But it takes too long to saddle up a horse, to go, half a mile round trip or a mile round trip on the farm. Now, Dr. Shealy, I will just go out to the four-wheeler, hit the electric start button, hop on the four-wheeler, ride down the road, maybe a half a mile on our dirt road, and then pull into one of our fields, check the cows, walk over among the cows, make sure everybody's happy and everybody's healthy and there's no problems and no one's hurt, and then hop back on the four-wheeler and come back home. Now, the reason I do that is it'll save me about an hour. But we are looking at these devices as now they're required for the kind of farming that we do. And we're using machines more and more. And ultimately, I can see where we have less exercise. But overall, We get out of our car, it's heated, we drive to work, get out, walk a short distance to the parking lot, sit down, get in the cube, start typing on the keyboard, go to lunch, come back from lunch, get in our car, and drive home, and that's it. That's the exercises from the car to the parking lot and back.
Well, I suspect that even though you may use a cart for that kind of thing, that you do a heck of a lot of other on your legs, on your feet.
I do, yes. Yeah. Well, I have to carry things, carry heavy salt blocks and bring them out to the cows. And what I try to do is I try not to just slumber along. I try to walk briskly and, improve my cardiovascular system. I try to make it exercise rather than just a leisurely stroll, to the cows. Now, when I'm with the cows, I make it leisurely because I don't want to excite them and have them think something's going to happen and have them stampede and run me over. But other than that, I try to, walk faster than a standard pace. But I'm wondering if we as a society are just slowing down and using the carts to lean on and the battery-powered carts to ride around on because it's more convenient. I wonder if that's really detrimental overall to us. And I what I'm hearing you say is, yeah. I don't know what the answer is.
The answer is to sort of stand up and move.
Sure. So I was in the shower this morning, Dr. Shealy, and I was thinking about mold and mildew. Not that I saw any. And I want to share with our class something that Mrs. Finelli does, something that I do, something that my mom has done for many, many, many years. And that is, we have a shower that has a tiled shower. And when we're done with the shower, we wipe it down with a towel. Well, we found an easier way to do it, and that is with a squeegee. And so the squeegee is about almost a foot wide. It's all plastic, and it hangs from that soap hanger that soap rack that hangs from the shower head area. And all we do is, when we're done with the shower, we just take this squeegee, and within a minute, we have wiped the water off the tile walls, all three walls. And then instead of having a glass shower door, it has a nylon shower curtain. And what I do is I stretch that out so it has maximum surface area and let the water evaporate very quickly. Give it so it's not all bunched up and it doesn't get moldy. Now, the reason I'm mentioning all this is I'm wondering how many of us are sick as a result of the mold that may be in our showers. Have you had any thoughts or experience with people who have come to you and you say, wait a minute, what about your shower? You have any black mold or yellow mold or orange mold or brown mold, or do you have any mold in your shower? Is that what's going on? I mean, have you had an experience with that in the course of your medical practice?
I have had a few patients who unequivocally have severe allergic, immune problems as a result of exposure to mold, no question about it. And I think this area, it does have more mold than some areas in the country. We tend to have a more humid atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, one thing that might increase the mold for those of us who live on farms and who have well water is we don't have the chlorine in the water to help eliminate mold in our showers. And I'm wondering about the trade-off of inhaling that chlorine infused water that comes from the municipal water supply in the shower. Let's say we're in the shower for 5 or 10 minutes, and we are breathing that chlorine gas that comes right out of the shower head, atomized just for our breathing pleasure, and comparing that with the mold that would grow if you don't have that, or tend to be growing faster. Dr. Shealy, is that shower water with chlorine dangerous? Let's talk about that when we come back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now, with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Suffering from illness or disease? Frequently in pain? Overstressed? Always tired? The solution is to oxygenate your cells because disease cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. Introducing Vital Ion, the first mineralized edible oxygen in the world. Go to toolsforfreedom.com and get the Miracle of Oxygenation DVD free with any Vital Ion purchase. Call 800-770-8802. That's 800-770-8802. Let Vital Ion edible oxygen be your daily fountain of youth.
Class, if you'd like to sign up for the same newsletter that I get, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com. Dr. Norman Shealy releases his newsletters for your edification multiple times per week. It's absolutely free. So, normshealy.com. Dr. Shealy, when we take a shower and we use municipal water, like if I travel and I'm in a hotel or motel room and the water's chlorinated, and I can absolutely sense the difference between the water we have here at the farmhouse and the water that comes out of the shower head or even out of the faucet in these hotel rooms. I can't drink the water. It's terrible. I mean, it's foreign to me. But I have a feeling that it's not foreign to everybody because they're more used to it, these chemicals that are added to the water. Are we poisoning ourselves with water that comes out of the shower that we shower with, spend 5-10 minutes in the shower?
Yes.
And if it's chlorinated.
The incidence of cancer in people who bathe and drink chlorinated water is almost twice what it is in people who don't do that. That's the bottom line.
Well, and I remember speaking to many groups across the country at these prepper events, these preparedness and survival type events, and I talked to them about the cell phones and the electromagnetic radiation. I talked about the incidence of cancer, and the last one in Tennessee, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that. To me, it's clear that cancer is increasing at an increasing rate. And I said, well, let me ask you, how many of you know of cancer in your family? Well, I'll tell you what, let me ask you a different way. How many of you do not know someone who has cancer in your family? Is there any family who doesn't have cancer? Just one. Is there any? And no one said that, no, we're good. We're good. We don't have cancer in our family. Not one person in a couple days worth of seminars. And I said, okay, well, if you think that what I'm saying is, partially true, maybe even half true, about the link between cell phones and cancer, brain cancer, if you think it's just partially true, how many of you are willing to give up your cell phones? Not one. Dr. Shealy, I've done this I'm guessing around 10 times. Somewhere around 10 times in the last year and a half or so. No one is willing to give up his or her cell phone to prevent cancer or to minimize their own risk of cancer. No one, absolutely no one that I've talked to in these seminars is willing to do it. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is, does this kind of thinking or lack of thinking tie to what you see in the medical profession about people taking care of themselves? For example, yeah, I know that Coke is bad for me. I'm talking about Coca-Cola. I know it's bad for me, but I love it. That kind of attitude. Or I know that Fritos, Cheetos, and all these other snack foods are bad for me, but I really like them. Are you seeing these kinds of things in the medical as symptoms of bad behavior that are causing people to harm themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Through their own idiotic behavior?
You got it. Let's face it.
So
Vince, only 3% of people, only 3%, have even the most essential basic 4 habits. That doesn't include all the other crap.
Dr. Shealy, is there an answer? Is there an answer, or do we just say, you know what, you guys are just too dumb when you kick the
uncommon commodity,
I'm just wondering.
common sense.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they're helping the rest of us who are paying attention to improve the gene pool by their demise through their own stupidity.
Yep, you got it.
Dr. Shealy and I'll be right back after these few short commercial announcements. And one of the things I'd like to talk about is gas. I'm talking about indigestion, gas, flatulence, and the relationship to helping disease. Believe it or not, I'm not kidding. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
The best kept secret in the firearms business is CDNNsports.com. CDNN Sports is the largest firearms liquidator in the U.S. We've got optics, accessories, gun parts, magazines, ammunition, and more. Sign up for our email specials today for the best gun deals, period. You will also be entered to win a Winchester 101 field shotgun. Go to Charlie, Delta, Novembersports.com. That's CDNNsports.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us.
And Dr. Sergey Sorin, the morning lark, is here.
Well, I'm not sure what the morning larks do, but glad to be here.
Dr. Sorin, it's great to have you with us today. And I wanted to thank you as well as Dr. Shealy for being at the meetup on Monday. You shared some really great insights about the former Soviet Union, and that was wonderful. And so, class, just to recap what Dr. Sergey Sorin and I were talking about at the meetup publicly, was that I was told in school that the former Soviet Union, our big bad enemy, was in ruins, and there was poverty everywhere, and people lived in severe poverty. And I found out later on that those who were raised in the former Soviet Union were told the same thing about the United States. We lived in absolute poverty, and if you got hurt and you had to go to the hospital, you'd probably die because of the poor treatment that you would get in the United States of America. In the hospital. So we were each lied to about the other. We were told that the Soviet Union was our biggest enemy, and we had to defeat them, and they were told they had to defeat us. And along that line of thinking, Dr. Sergey Sorin confirmed that Dr. Sorin, what did you experience?
Well, it's the propaganda goes both ways, and those who are behind it, really did a fantastic job. I'm not saying they were doing good things, but they did a really good job at being bad.
Yeah.
Prize of the year.
I was reading a story. Our son was in the kitchen. He said, "Dad, you're not going to believe this. Listen to this." And here's the story goes something like this: that flatulence, gas from humans, it may have some positive benefits, and that it may, of course, it smells, and most people will move away if someone has gas near them. But they say that hydrogen sulfide, which is, according to this article, the NewYorkDailyNews.com, that hydrogen sulfide can be toxic, but in tiny amounts, it's shown to help protect the mitochondria, which are known as the powerhouses of cells. And so it says that there's a study by Dr. Matt Whiteman of the University of Exeter, and explained that disease cells draw in enzymes to create small quantities of the compound, which help keep the mitochondria going and the cell alive. So, and then there's some thoughts that maybe breathing in some of this flatulence could help those with conditions like stroke, diabetes, heart failure, and dementia. Dr. Soren, Dr. Shealy, have either of you heard of anything like this? Because it really sounded like it was a hoax to me.
Oh, I'm not aware of I'm not aware of any experiments in which they measured being exposed to hydrogen sulfide. But who knows?
That would be a difficult study to have people become subjects to, among people that I know. But I certainly do know some people who could provide the gas. I mean, they do that all the time. Usually, there's quite a bit of space around them, and I have a feeling it has to do with how we humans perceive the smell. But it does bring me to the thought that Norm, what are your Vincent? What are your thoughts about homeopathy? The principles of homeopathy, that even harmful things in small amounts can activate pathways to healing.
Well, there is some good evidence that homeopathy can be extremely helpful, especially in things like allergies. And in fact, although allergists don't like to talk about this, basically they are really using homeopathy to desensitize people to whatever they are trying to desensitize them to. So, they're diluents, if you will, or diluted amounts of things to gradually allow the body to take over. For instance, even with peanuts, this apparently for some odd reason an increased risk of asthma in some children, but if they are exposed in small doses, not homeopathic, but just small, they gradually accommodate them. So, yeah, there's no question that for some things, homeopathy is good. So, I can't imagine. And what's fascinating to me is, interestingly, diabetics have an increase in flatulence, according to the literature. So I can't imagine why breathing it would help, but who knows?
Norm, actually, since if we have a little time, I know you talk about Suderman's homeopathy.
Suderman, yes.
Suderman, yeah. Can you expand this, for a brief time for about that?
Yes. Frau Suderman was what we would call in this country a naturopath. And she introduced the concept not just of using an exquisitely dilute amount of stuff, but using 6 different categories. So she went through the Krebs cycle, that is the sequence in which you actually metabolize sugar. There's certain specific phases. And then ketones, for instance, the best known ketone is probably CoQ10, but there are others in that family. And so instead of just looking for a single product, she desensitizes, if you will, the body to a wide variety of them. So you choose a toxin, you choose a detox thing, and et cetera. And it works. It works exquisitely well in autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and scleroderma. I had one woman whose scleroderma was totally stopped in its progression by using the Suderman approach.
And that, from looking over the latest information, that's actually part of our pathways, or what we offer to those who would like to coach themselves or interested in becoming certified as holistic coaches.
Yes, it's so simple.
Would you like to share more about
about 1.5 days to learn the technique?
Would you share more, Dr. Shealy, about these holistic coach certifications?
Yes. Basically, what most people need before they become seriously ill is someone to teach them and guide them in developing good health habits. You were talking in the last hour about the fact that most people we don't have good health habits. Well, we are going to train individuals in all of the major stress reduction approaches, and they can certify them. They can hang out a shingle as a certified holistic health coach, which means basically they use a wide variety of safe approaches to teach stress reduction.
And stress is actually, to elaborate on stress, when most people think of stress, it's a little bit of a psychological stress, but it's not really accounted for as a major factor, whereas stress is psychological, physiological, environmental. If you eliminate, or if you have a way of working with stress, about 75 to 85% or more of diseases such as chronic diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, leading to strokes, heart attacks, and depression, anxiety, that's actually stress-based. So that's really not a small thing.
Yes, basically, I make the distinction that all emotional stress is fear, and our reaction to fear is anger, guilt, anxiety, and or depression. And there are only 5 fears. Some people have a brain that plays the broken record of being afraid of dying. Some people have a fear of being an invalid. Some people have a fear of poverty. I'm talking about obsession with playing the broken records about it. But the 2 biggest fears that cause the most stress are the fear or feeling of being abandoned, in other words, loss of love, and or justice and why. The whole, what I call the whole fear of existence. Why me, God? Why do you allow this to happen? And people play these broken records about it, so they wind up with anxiety and anger and depression, et cetera, et cetera. And what I say is you cannot afford the luxury of that kind of preoccupation. That's why we go to my favorite word, which is detach.
Absolutely. And, life is not long enough to begin with. I mean, most people get maybe between 60 and 100 years. Now, it is possible to go beyond that, and, we are working with that. But that's not a big time, and that's not a large amount of time to enjoy yourself, to be productive, to have a purpose in life, and to accomplish something useful. So you might as well make the best of it.
When I think back, when I was, maybe 37, I thought, wow, it took 37 years to learn this much. That's a long time. And then when I was 50, I thought, wow, it took a long time. Now that I'm 63, I'm thinking, I barely know enough to get by. And I know more now than I did at 37 and at 50. And you're absolutely right. Life is really short, and it takes a long time to get the hang of it and to understand how things work and what to do. And wow, you're right. Life is really short. And when you talk about stress, there's this thought that there is a relationship between stress and the bulging waistline. And that, going to work, you have these panic situations where you have these things that have to be delivered to the boss. You've got to get them done. You got to get them done quickly. They've got to be right. Everybody's looking at you. And that causes a release of hormones that cause cravings, that cause us to eat, that cause overweight situations because we're just sitting there behind the keyboard. Can you comment on that when we come back, please? We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of IronEdison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Would you like to receive $250 to $1,000 cash per day? Go to richmoneyrich.com. No website, no selling, no explaining. Just take these simple 2 steps and go to richmoneyrich.com. You can be generating cash in the next 24 hours simply using this system. Good news is, it runs on 100% autopilot, and you don't need any experience to get started. It's easy. Get your share of easy riches and go to richmoneyrich.com. That's richmoneyrich.com. Go now. Brought to you by the Conservative Investor. Current returns not indicative of future results.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
The best kept secret in the firearms business is CDNNsports.com. CDNN Sports is the largest firearms liquidator in the U.S. We've got optics, accessories, gun parts, magazines, ammunition, and more. Sign up for our email specials today for the best gun deals, period. You will also be entered to win a Winchester 101 field shotgun. Go to Charlie, Delta, Novembersports.com. That's CDNNsports.com.
Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, medical doctor. Dr. Sergey Sorin is with us, medical doctor. And we're talking about stress, the bulging waistline, the panic that results as being on the job where the boss is saying, get it done faster, 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 and it's got to be right, and your peers are looking at you, so the stress causes, allegedly, according to this article, causes hormones to be released that causes these cravings, and so we eat, sit at the keyboard, don't move too much, and put weight on. Does that sound like a likely series of events that happen?
Vincent, let me make a small, well, maybe not so small comment about this, because this is actually one of the major aspects of health and wellness, or lack of that. I'll relate a little incident, but my experience with an organization called New York Tactical Officers Association. It's basically the best of the most capable of the officers who respond to emergencies such as hostage situations. And there is, from time to time, as a medical provider, and I was very close with them, we used to go through drills, and I would sometimes play the bad guy, in other words, so they would have to catch me and so on and so forth. It was fun. But I'll tell you, when you are in that type of a situation and the stress is pumping the adrenaline, the cortisol, it's the same. It's the equivalent of you're basically, you're facing a tiger or a bear, and that's walking through the door, and this is your time for flight or flight. And in an instant, everything heightens. You get tunnel vision, and it's just, it's an interesting set of responses. What happens in a short term is that if you go through something like that and then able to relax and reset, in other words, the sympathetic system activation then leads to the parasympathetic system responding and neutralizing it, and so that sympathetic and parasympathetic are in balance, and then you come back to the sense of ease, then that's all right. But most humans that I know are in a constant state of sympathetic overload. The chronic stress, the chronic release of adrenaline, cortisol, it leads to the burnout of the adrenals. And so the resulting effect is that the DHEA, which is one of the major hormones, is deficient as a result of that chronic burnout. Not only is there weight loss and dysregulation of eating and waistline, but there's also it kills everything. It kills the immune system. It really destroys our bodies.
Sergey, get a little further your mouth away from the phone. You're getting a lot of breathing into the phone.
Okay. How's now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So, were you able to hear what I was saying, or?
Yeah. But
yes.
Now it's better. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Good to know. Yeah. So, so what Norm and I do, and we work with stress, is that stress is such a big factor, and when we say that we work with stress, it's no small thing. So, what the tools that we utilize is related to the balance of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, retraining the central nervous system so that you're actually going to be in balance even during the event. You can actually control your response. And of course, replenishing and neutralizing and coming back into the natural and middle ground, the balance of the DHEA and other essential hormones. And Norm, you have anything else on this topic?
No, the important thing is to be aware and to take positive steps to reduce your reaction to stress. You can't avoid the exposure to it, but you can minimize your reaction to it.
After the broadcast yesterday, I received a phone call from a gentleman on the East Coast who listens to the broadcast, and he called just to say thank you. And then we talked about generators. He was very interested in the generator. And I mentioned that gasoline-powered generators typically run at 3,600 RPM. Diesel generators typically run at 1,800 RPM. And the reason I'm mentioning this is a gasoline-powered generator is running at wide open throttle. Wide open throttle, and if you were to do research to find out how long they would last, typically they would last 30 days running continuously. That would mean that you'd also have to stop them to change the oil every day because you want to change the oil every 25 hours. The point that I'm trying to make is these gasoline engines that run these these generators are running at wide open throttle, and I believe that is analogous to what you're talking about, the adrenal burnout. And if you had a diesel generator and just loafed along at half the RPMs, the revolutions per minute, they'd last 10, 15 times longer, and they do. Can we address that when we come back?
A good stove is at the top of the list for any serious survivalist. That's why you have to see the full range at emberlit.com. Simple, elegant, but extraordinarily efficient. Available in titanium or stainless steel, the Emberlit line of stoves are ultralight, pack flat, and work great. Fueled only by sticks and debris. From emergency situations to long-term survival, Emberlit stoves are up to the task. Emberlit, the most convenient, easy-to-carry wood stoves on the planet. See them all at emberlit.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims, we just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Here's Dr. Paul Meyer, Christian psychiatrist, author of 85 books, and founder of the national chain Meyer Clinics, to tell you about To Your Health liquid vitamins.
I've been taking these every day for over a decade now, and I try to encourage every one of my clients to take them every day. And there's a number of reasons. First of all, it's the best vitamins you can get. It's got dozens of vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients in it. And then the most important reason why I do it as a psychiatrist and recommend it to my patients is because it's got brain food in it. It's got the essential amino acids. It's got tryptophan, phenylalanine, tyrosine, choline, vitamin B6, and these chemicals that are all natural from food turn into the brain chemicals that make you happy.
To Your Health is delicious. Find out more today. Call us 800-801-3459 or visit online at mytoyourhealth.com. Use the coupon code RADIO15 for a 15% discount on your order. That's mytoyourhealth.com.
Hi, this is Ron Paul. I'm a former 22-year congressman and Republican presidential candidate. I'm here to tell you about something that just might save your lives. You never know when there will be another Katrina, an economic collapse, or a serious drought. We should all have a little food storage that will carry us through tough times. I'm going to tell you about a great way to do that. A U.S. company named Harvest Right has a kitchen appliance that can help you be prepared. It's a home freeze dryer. With the product, you can preserve the foods your family loves. And the best part is the food will last 25 years and still taste great. I've tried it and it's amazing. With a home freeze dryer from Harvest Right, you can literally freeze dry anything you eat, even things like ice cream. To learn more, call Harvest Right today at 800-594-4635 or go to harvestright.com. That's 800-594-4635 or harvestright.com.
Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, and Dr. Sergey Sorin is with us. And we're talking about the burnout of the adrenals. And the analogy I was drawing was one of a small gas-powered generator running at wide open throttle. Is that analogous to what you're talking about, Dr. Sorin?
I absolutely agree with you on that one. You, as an analogy, you nailed it. You know, I came across, I also mentioned during the meetup group that I'm involved in some in martial arts, mixed martial arts, MMA. And one of the things, I had the pleasure of working with a gentleman who was basically, I noticed, I'm not going to go into details or in terms of, I'm not going to reveal too much personal information, but the concept is that I see this all the time. And we ended up talking quite a bit. And the commonality is that this is somebody who has a hard time relaxing, has a hard time following orders, but that really, or directions or instruction. But that doesn't surprise me, because when you are on an adrenal burnout and you're pumping adrenaline, you are in that tunnel vision zone. So he may be doing his best, but he's going to have a hard time learning. He is also having difficult time controlling the blood pressure, having what most likely is going to be cholesterol and many other chronic health conditions, and more highly likely leading up to stroke or a heart attack if things don't stop. And so we were talking about the various ways to do things, and he kept asking me about salt and genetics, and I kept saying, don't worry about salt. I mean, it may be a factor, but don't worry, genetics is not something you can control. You can control how you respond to stress. You can control your habits. And that's the main thing.
You can't afford the luxury of anger, guilt, anxiety, or depression. That's the bottom line.
And Dr. Shealy, is that because they are killers?
Yeah. They are wearing you out at a rapid pace. And that, it's all interrelated, isn't it? Because if you have good health habits, which is only 3% of Americans, by the way, who have all 4 of the basic health habits, your telomeres shrink 1% every year of life. If you are fat, if you're overweight, if you don't eat adequate fruits and vegetables, if you don't exercise 30 minutes 5 days a week, your telomeres shrink a lot faster. So depending upon how many of these other negative stress habits you have, you die on average in this country of 22 years early. And that means a lot of people die 40 or 50 years early because of stress.
Now, the other component of this is, and Norman, I do talk about this a lot, it doesn't matter, to us personally, it's more important the quality of life, more so than the quantity. In other words, both Norm and I have mentioned that neither of us really cares much about death. The death is not this big scary wolf. It's going to happen eventually. It's having a quality of life experience for us, for the loved ones, to be able to be productive, to be able to live life to the fullest. And that is the other factor. And stress has a lot to do with this. Norm, would you like to comment a little bit about that?
Well, the only thing you have to worry about is staying stressed. Not that you can't have stress. The point is you need to do something about it and then get detached from it, get away from it. Either, fight back or relax and let go. It's that simple.
Dr. Shealy, there's a post on the internet that talks about smoking cannabis. And, some people, I believe, smoke marijuana to relax. And this post talks about smoking cannabis alters your DNA, causing mutations that can trigger serious illness, including cancer. And it says, smoking cannabis alters a person's DNA, causing mutations. Experts say these mutations can trigger serious illness, including cancer. Mutations passed to children and future generations, raising their risk as well. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. Breathing smoke, whether it's marijuana or tobacco or wood, is not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it says that the research found that cancers and illnesses were likely caused by cell mutations resulting from cannabis properties having a chemical interaction with a person's DNA. Now, it's one thing to be stupid and harm yourself. It's another thing to pass it on to your children and your children's children. And that's what this article is talking about, that it can be passed on.
Well, all of these things are part of overall health. And, to me, the single most important thing that people need to do is make conscious decisions of how much stress they are willing to allow in their life.
Mm-hmm. Talking about conscious decisions, I know a man, is married, has children, and he lives across the road from a dump. I'm talking about a landfill. And I was reading an article about the results of living near a landfill. The smell of rotting trash increases the risk of cancer. Now, that's just one increased risk. What about the risks of whatever is in that landfill, the leachate that forms at the bottom of the liner, that perforates the liner that goes into the water table, that then we get to drink, which is a result of this landfill filled with refrigerators and freezers and trash and plastic and oil and nickel cadmium batteries and these compact fluorescent light bulbs and the regular fluorescent light bulbs and the mercury and the batteries and all this stuff that people just throw in the trash that ends up in this pile that decays over time and leaches into the water supply. So I just wanted to share.
But some of it's coming up, I suspect, also chemically, if you will, and energetically. And they actually cover up these landfills sometimes and start building on them. I wouldn't want to live over an old landfill.
There was a Allied Waste, the number 2 waste company in the country, wanted to build a landfill in the little hamlet where I was living in Virginia, and we fought it, and we successfully fought it. And I remember that Allied Waste sent their representative to go on the radio. I was interviewed on a morning program. I was not a broadcaster. I was just a farmer. And I was interviewed, and then right after me, they had the Allied Waste representative talking about how great this is. I mean, can you imagine? They're going to provide canine dog to the sheriff's office. They were going to build a swimming pool for the high school, and they were going to level the surface of this dump so that they could put a ball field on top of it, so the children could play ball on top of the landfill. But what they failed to say is that the smell of this landfill, even covered with layers of dirt, was enough to attract all these birds that would fly over and poop on everybody trying to watch the game. And absolutely true, Dr. Shealy. I'm not exaggerating. And the methane gas would light on fire in many of these ball fields, because when they turned on those high pressure lights, these sparks from the lights would light the ball fields on fire from the methane gas rising from them. So it's not as good as these waste companies would like us to believe they are. Dr. Soren, our number 1, Dr. Shealy shared with us some of his experiences in the early days of medicine, med school, those kinds of things, residency, internship. Do you have some that you'd like to share with us?
I'm not sure if this is appropriate for the radio, but I'm smiling right now. But I'll just do a cursory, and then you let me know if that's proper.
Well, just say it. Just say it in a way that is good for family radio.
I will try my very best. Anybody recall the times of when people used to do strange things with gerbils?
Yeah,
And
I remember that. There was
emergency room with a politely as I can, removal of a foreign object, which is a gerbil.
Wait a minute. Was this in?
There is a story, true life story of a gerbil. I'm going to just give you the elements in the mix, and things can be pieced together. Gerbil, methane gas accumulating behind the gerbil, a lit match to see if the gerbil could be removed on their own, and the gerbil flying out like a cannon, like a cannonball, with being propelled by methane gas with a fireball right behind it, with a burning of the mucosa, as well as the person who is holding the match. I can get a little more graphic than that, but that's
now.
That's enough.
Dr. Soren,
I'll stop right there.
I think we got it. Now, I literally remember, I believe it was in the 1980s, hearing a story about that, and I believe it included a person who was on the radio or television. Is that the story? Are you the doctor that did this? That got this?
No, I did not have the pleasure of direct experience with that, but it certainly stands out.
When we come back, can you share some other stories with us? Dr. Soren, Dr. Shealy. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
There's nothing more enticing and intoxicating than the finest meat cooking on an open flame. Freeze-dried meat from newharvest.com is U.S. grown, 100% all-natural with no extra fillers. Just grass-fed beef and free-range chicken guaranteed to stay fresh and delicious. Add New Harvest freeze-dried meats to your current food storage. You'll buy direct from the factory, not a third party, ensuring the best price and the highest quality. See all our products at newharvestfoods.com. That's newharvestfoods.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Suffering from illness or disease? Frequently in pain? Overstressed? Always tired? The solution is to oxygenate your cells because disease cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. Introducing Vital Ion, the first mineralized edible oxygen in the world. Go to toolsforfreedom.com and get the Miracle of Oxygenation DVD free with any Vital Ion purchase. Call 800-770-8802. That's 800-770-8802. Let Vital Ion edible oxygen be your daily fountain of youth.
My computer is so slow, it's making me crazy.
I used to have that problem.
Did you quit using a computer, or did you buy a new one?
No, I called Geeks On Site. They made an appointment to visit my home and showed up the same day.
You mean they didn't ask you to bring your computer to a shop? That's what happened when I called a support company.
Geeks On Site can go to your home or business or even repair your computer online. They have 24/7 emergency service.
If you are having problems with your PC or Mac, call Geeks On Site, 1-800-591-1682. Our friendly certified computer repair experts are available 24/7. Call now for a free diagnosis, 1-800-591-1682. Data recovery, virus removal, and maintenance for all laptops, desktops, printers, and networks. That's Geeks On Site for friendly certified computer repair experts, available 24/7 over the phone or in your home or business. Just call 1-800-591-1682. That's 1-800-591-1682, 1-800-591-1682. 1682.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Dr. Norman Shealy's with us, and Dr. Sergey Soren's with us. If you'd like to go to Dr. Shealy's website, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com, and that's where you can purchase the Bliss oils, the magnesium lotion, his books, and sign up for the free newsletter. Dr. Soren, you were talking about this gerbilectomy.
Well, we'll try not to go into more detail. But yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
We've got Miles in Europe. Miles is calling in. Miles, senior instructor as well. Welcome, Miles.
Good morning, Doc. Or Docs, good morning. Good morning, class. How are you doing?
Great. How about you, Miles?
Good morning.
Well, you can't beat me, Doc. You know that.
Would try.
I have a question. I have a friend that is calling me since half a year, and he's a veteran, and he has usually when he's getting into stress situations or he's getting some of his feedbacks when he's thinking back onto a combat situation, he's getting stomach issues, and his doctors are only prescribing him these photon blockers like pantoprazole, and that would be like Nexium or something like that. Do you know a natural remedy that, in case of when the props hit the fan, what he can take instead of that if it's necessary?
Well, basically, post-traumatic stress disorder is associated with extremely low doses of oxytocin, and the simplest thing would be Air Bliss, totally safe, and short-term or long-term, it would not cause any problems.
Would it even take care of the side effects with the stomach upheaval that already was been caused?
It certainly can do that, because what it does is it quiets the stress response. It is one of the great antidotes to stress.
Let me just put another angle on what Norm is saying. And I do come from a conventional medical background, and this is exactly what I would do in the emergency room, and I still work in the emergency room, where we have limited time and limited capacity given the system, and the system is, the acute system is better than chronic system by any means. But again, just notice what's going on here. It addresses this literally, and part of the question was, is there a better Band-Aid, so to speak, for the stomach ulcer that's induced by stress? But what Norm is saying, and this is highly important, and not just for this question, but for many people, is that what about what's underneath the bleed? What's underneath the wound? In other words, so to speak, what's causing the stress? How do you address the stress? Because if you handle stress, the ulcer is not going to be so much of an issue, or the stomach problem is not going to be much of an issue. In other words, as a matter of fact, you can actually get rid of this problem entirely. So the question, so the thing to do is to refocus the efforts on just working with the outcome of the stress, and just keep putting a Band-Aid on it. And by the way, what Norm mentioned is absolutely great, but to really switch focus and attention to the underlying cause.
I agree with you. I don't have issues like that. I'm processing stress and when push comes to shove, very much differently than other people do. But here is a situation when things do not get better, and we will face some situation where somebody needs an instant remedy. This is the question to answer here.
Yep. No. There are definitely modalities, and Norm mentioned one, but there are other things that we can certainly also recommend. Actually, Norm, yeah, I think we just trying to go back. You mentioned the air blitz as one.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. And
thank you very much, doctors. Doc Shealy, may I call you at a different time to talk to you about that one more time?
Happy to.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, gentlemen.
You too, Miles.
Thank you.
Miles, thank you so much. Deborah in Kentucky, I'm sorry we are out of time. I was hoping that we could get all your calls. Class, the thing to do is call us earlier. Instead of in the last whole segment of the broadcast, it'd be great if you could call us earlier. I'll give you that number, 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. Dr. Shealy, Dr. Soren, thank you so much for being with us. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.